Hi everybody, so in today's video, I want to show you a really cool thing. It's called the up a half step trick or the up a fifth trick. And if you're a teacher, say you have a new young jazz band and they're not quite comfortable with improvising over certain jazz chords, or you yourself are learning how to improvise and over jazz chords, you might find this really valuable, a really easy way to get you started on playing the right scales over the right chords. So let's jump in. So first things first, we're gonna talk about the up a half step and up a fifth trick. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna show you a quick little bonus trick that can help on some more complicated chords as well. So the first trick is the up a half step trick. And what we wanna think about here is anytime we see two certain type of chords, a half diminished seventh chord or an altered seventh chord. And so if we see those chords, we're gonna think of the up a half step trick. And all that means is we're gonna look at the chord and we're gonna go up a half step from the root note. So if this is B, go up a half step to C. And then all we have to do is play the major scale from that half step up, okay? So if I play a C major scale over top of B minor 7 flat 5, it's gonna sound really good. And if you're a teacher trying to get your students to feel comfortable with what notes to play, and you can teach them the up a half step trick, they can quickly just figure that out. Oh, B minor 7 flat 5? Okay, just play C major scale and I'm off to the races, okay? So the next type of chord, like I said, is the altered chord. So you might see flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5, or you might see just ALT for fully altered there. And so in that case, what we're gonna do is go to the root note, go up a half step. So now we're up to A flat and play a major scale, but with a flat third. That's called an ascending melodic minor scale. You can tell your students that, but it's easier sometimes, or if you're a new musician, but you know your major scales really well, but you're not so familiar with your minor scales, it can be a little confusing. So if you just say, hey, play a major scale, but when you get to the third step, go down half a step. Third scale degree, go down half a step. So A flat major, but go down half a step on the third scale degree. That might help your students as well, kind of thinking in major scales. Again, these chords go by so fast that might help them learn to play those notes right away. And then of course, you can introduce the terminology once they start to become more familiar with it. All right, let's talk about the up a fifth trick real quick. So the up a fifth trick works for 13 sharp 11 chords. It also works for dominant 13 sharp 11 chords, and it works with dominant 7 sharp 11 chords. And so for the for the 13 sharp 11, all we need to do is go up a fifth from the root. So here's F, my fifth up is C. And so I'm gonna play a C major scale over top of this chord, and that's gonna give me all the right notes that are gonna sound great over top of that chord quality, okay? So C major, again, these work for any of the keys, so don't worry necessarily about the examples I gave you here. They work in all 12 keys, so as soon as you teach your students the trick, they can apply it to whatever music you're working on. And then also, like I said, it works with the dominant 7 sharp 11. So with the dominant 7 sharp 11, it's kind of similar to the altered chord here, right? We have to play a major scale and flat the third. But instead of going up a half step, we're gonna go up a fifth. So from D, go up a fifth, that'll get you to A, and then play an A major scale, but on that third scale degree, which would normally be C sharp, you're gonna play C natural in this case. But again, works for all of them. Major scale, flat the third. And so as you start to get comfortable again with major scales, you can start to think, oh, on this one, I just had to flat the third. Oh, on this one, I can play my major scale and it'll sound like the right notes, because it will be all the notes that are in that chord quality. All right, let's go up to that bonus trick I was telling you about. So this is for some chords called the dominant 7 flat 9 and the dominant 7 flat 9 flat 13. And the half step trick and the fifth trick don't really work for this necessarily. So you got to ask yourself, where are you going? You know, dominant seventh chords are those 5-7 chords. I always want to resolve somewhere, right? So we need to figure out where we're going. And so if we have a G7 flat 9, we have to ask ourselves, or we want to teach our students to ask themselves, where does G7 or that fifth chord want to resolve? It's a 5-7, so it wants to go to 1. So I'm gonna play in the key of C, and I'm gonna play the harmonic major scale. Again, if I wanna, I'm not too familiar with that terminology, all that means is that's a major scale, but I flat the 6 instead of flatting the third like we did in the other exercise there. So if you're telling your students still want to keep them in that major scale mode kind of thinking, just say, hey, major scale, but flat the 6. So that A is gonna become an A flat in this example. And then for a C7 flat 9 flat 13, ask yourself the question, where does C wanna go? C7 wants to resolve to F. So I'm gonna play an F harmonic minor scale. And again, all that is an F major scale, but with a flat third and a flat sixth. So if you want to again keep all of these terms in the major kind of thought, you can do that. And then as time goes on, you can certainly introduce harmonic minor as a term, harmonic major, ascending melodic minor as well. So there you have it, guys. Really easy tricks to help your students figure out what notes to play over top of which chords really quickly. And again, the more they practice this, the easier it'll start to be for them to figure out those notes in real time. So hope that helps. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.